Okay, so we can go ahead and make sure my camera is good. Okay, welcome to the Black Educated Tea Podcast. I'm your host, Makeda Marie, and we have a special guest with us today. We have Shena Lashey. She is the owner, operator of Black Girls Heal. This magnificent company does so many things that support Black women on our journey as we focus on healing, self-improvement, and just being the best that we can be. She has a wonderful podcast that I myself follow. I have been following for a while now. She always gives the best messages and always the best stories that you can really just resonate with. And see, I can say all of these magnificent things about Shena, but I want her to introduce herself to you all so you can get a real good understanding of what she is and what she does.
Wow, what an intro. I'm over here cheese and I'm like, that me? Oh my gosh.
Girl, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Well, thank you so much for those kind words. I appreciate it. But yes, my name is Shena Lashey. I am a formerly trained therapist turned love addiction coach and trauma expert, and I am a full-time coach. I support women with healing from love addiction, love avoidance, unhealthy relationships, low self-worth via my podcast and my online programs and, workbooks and smaller things I put out. So I just try to put out as many resources as possible, depending on who needs it.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you, first of all, for providing these resources, because when I say they have really been beneficial for me, and so I know they are beneficial for a lot of other women as well. So thank you for putting your time, your effort into creating these resources that I know are of benefit for a lot of us. So I want to start out with the first question, and it may be, I just had to ask, what is your definition, or I'm not even going to say definition. What is your take on Black Girls Heal? I mean, there's so many variations you can think of that. But when you think of Black Girls Heal, what does that mean for you?
As in the company or Black women healing in general?
Just in the company, healing, just whatever. Let's just say your company, for instance. Let's just think of your company. What does that mean when your clients come to you or young ladies come to you and, just healing them, Black Girls Healing? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, so part of my story, which you may have heard before since you're a listener, part of my story is I found that the way that I was approaching relationships and self-love and healing, even though I was already in the space as a healer, professional therapist, even though I have really great friendships and other people around me and really great mentors, the advice and the things that people were telling me weren't really connecting to me, or at least I still felt a lot of distance, and I felt like maybe there's something wrong with me, like maybe I'm the one who can't get it right. And then especially that when you top on all the other trauma that we have as Black women and just trying to find a space where we belong, I created Black Girls Heal to specifically help women who have felt, Black women who have felt the same way at this intersection of what does love and self-love mean to me? What does it mean to be a Black woman here? How do I let go of the cape and be soft, but also take care of myself, but also be open and find balance? And so I really have my dream for Black Girls Heal and what I want it to be is a safe space that helps transform generations. And it's a big goal, but I think we need platforms like this that actually teach us in an applicable way, not talking to us, but talking with us. This is what it means to move forward.
And I'm so glad you said that, talking with us and not to us, because a lot of times when we feel like we're being taught that, it's not, for me, it just doesn't sink in, or I'm not comprehending it as I should be when I feel like I'm being taught that and not being coached or mentored. So thank you for that. And so I have another question. And this may not even resonate with you, but did you have that one breaking point, or did you have that one occurrence, or did you have that one situation where you was like, okay, this is it. Now it is my time to heal? Because I know for me, I had that one point and I was just like, okay, I can't take anymore. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. So now I started to seek the healing. Did you have that moment where you was like, enough is enough. Now it's time to get the healing that I need?
Yeah, for me, so my mom passed away unexpectedly in 2013. And up until then, I've always been pretty high functioning, perfectionist, like top of my class kind of thing. And when my mom died, the ways I would act out to kind of self medicate started to escalate. And the grief was so much because I had learned that if something tragic happens, you push it down, you find a solution, and you move forward. But when my mom passed, I couldn't do that. So I started going to therapy, which was really good, and it helped me with like family codependency and some other ways that I was acting out. But when it came to my relationships, if anything, that stuff started to escalate even more, and sexually acting out, and over attachment to porn and some other things. And so as I saw who I was dating and I kept crossing the line, I was like, this ain't getting better.
So I've been there.
Right. And I'm tired of being tired. So even though I was already in therapy, I think that's when I finally saw, oh, this isn't like a seasonal thing. This isn't just because my mom passed. There might be something bigger going on here.
Wow. And it's really amazing how we keep doing the same repetitive things and think we're going to get different results from it. And that's what I did in relationships and just so many things in life in general. I kept doing the same repetitive things, thinking that, oh, this time it'll be different. Next time it'll be different. It's not going to be different, especially in relationships. And if you're going for the same personalities, you're going for the same type of person, but you're expecting different results or outcomes. So yeah, I can totally agree with that. So I definitely want to talk about Black Girls Heal. And I know that you have a program called the Recovery School. Yes, I want you to tell us all about the different tracks that you have and what is Recovery School?
Yeah, so coming from this therapy background, I had a lot of experience and I saw a lot of people go into these inpatient treatment centers for addictions and addictive relationships. And they would be there for weeks at a time. And I saw that people would really like to be there. And then they would come out and kind of be on their own. Like, yes, they might go back to a therapist back in their city, because usually these places are like on compounds or, in the wilderness or whatever. And I was like, people really need community. And also people need access to this and where they are, like living their own daily life. So in my head, I knew that I wanted to create something for people who were love addicts or love avoidance, that they could go through this coaching and programming in a community setting and be able to unlearn and learn new skills related to being open and healing and all that stuff. So that is the mission of the Recovery School. It's a 6-month program at the time that we are recording this right now. And I'm just saying that because sometimes, depending on watching how my students are progressing or maybe need more support, I might add time, I might, take away time or add more components. So there's that. And as far as the tracks right now, there are 2 main tracks. There's our self-love track for women who, and the title of that is Growing While Growing in Self-Love. So sometimes, there's so many different reasons that women are attracted to Black Girls Heal. Sometimes it's the whole message. Sometimes it's just part of it. So sometimes people will want to come into the Recovery School program and they're like, yeah, even if my relationships aren't really that good, I really just want to learn how to love me. I want to focus on me. So there's women who will come in and do that, or women who are married or in partner relationships. And then also the second track is called Dating While Healing Within, because I'm of the mind that you don't have to I'm gonna say this and then clean up if I need to. You do not have to heal to be perfect before you date, because I think part of kind of the miseducation that we have learned is that you have to earn a partner, or if you're not with someone, that means that there's something wrong with you. And like, it's this big event versus you're already enough where you are right now. And as when you are ready to move forward, you can. And if there are ways that you have learned to attach or over-attach to unavailable people, that's what we need to work on while we're looking at healing you from within.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I always say I'm going to be a work in progress until I'm no longer here. I'm going to always continue to grow, continue to learn. I'm going to always need healing in some sort, some form. So I always say I'm a work in progress. There's no such thing as perfection. So we are all a work in progress. We're all on a journey to be better. So we all just have to focus on being the best us. So thank you for providing that. And I always hear this thing about love addiction. You don't hear love avoidance too much. So give us a little bit more details on what is love avoidance and how does that look for, for the clients that you work with, or what is your take on it?
Yeah, so love avoidance is the persistent putting up of walls, or the systemic putting up of walls to keep people away, because you see love and connection as a burden. And half of the time, this is a conscious thought, and half of the time, it is not a conscious thought. Uh, One of the ways that it cannot be a conscious thought is if you're someone who's always really busy, if you're the one who's the giver in all of your friendships and relationships, so you're the one who gives advice, you're the mom of the group, you're the one who always has it all together. There's so many ways that we will kind of shield ourselves or prettify how we're going to keep people out. But the way that works is that you could be surrounded by a whole lot of people. You can be in your church groups, you can have a million friends, you could be in all these weddings and everything. But because you have so many people that you're spread out between, no one actually gets to know you. And that's part of the defense mechanism. And people will engage, or they'll go to love avoidance because typically in their background, love and connection was something that was intrusive. It was unsafe. So many of us may have parents or caregivers who were very critical, who wanted to control us, who were domineering, who may have been abusive. And so as little girls, we just learned that the people who are closest to us, we have to have some kind of defense up to make sure we don't get swallowed in by what's going on in the household. And so we grow up to be women who still learn that this is how I stay safe in relationships. And you don't turn that off. You especially if you never had the experience to actually be in a healthy, committed, intimate relationship with someone who just wanted you for you and didn't drain you or attack you or insult you. You have no concept of it.
Wow, that's really eye-opening for me, because it really made me just take a look back and look at myself. And I think for years I was actually avoided, because I would put up those mechanisms and put those walls up just to avoid being hurt or being open as well. I struggled for years with just being open and communicating and expressing myself. And so it was easier for me to give and to put up those walls than to face the real issue that I was having. So thank you for that. So how do you go from being avoidant to available? What are those? What is the components, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so this is the first step is going to sound really cheesy, but it's true. Admitting that you have a problem.
That's number one.
That's number one. And the reason why that's important is because 9.999 times out of 10, when I meet someone who's love avoidant, they are very high functioning, or at least they have all their systems and ways that they operate in the world. And so they may either underestimate or not have any awareness of the fact that they are pushing people away. And there may even be some defensiveness, because part of the way they learned how to be safe in the world is to not let people talk crap about them, talk crap about them, to be able to kind of be confident in all these areas. So that can be a really vulnerable mission to have to look at yourself in your relationship. So you have to be willing to be open to seeing that. And then the second thing you have to do is you have to be open and willing to change. Intimacy, I know you say you hear more about love addiction, but both, when you hear love addiction and love avoidance, they both have the same amount of fear and anxiety that come up, because to let someone in and to see me at my most stripped and exposed level, and to sit with that literally will make someone, without exaggeration, in their body feel like they want to cower, curl up. Like it is visceral. That type of thing.
Me. That has been me.
Yeah. It's scary, right? And so you have to be willing to be able to move forward, but you have to be willing to move forward with healthy people, which is the third thing. So you really have to learn how to choose who are the available safe people for you, because what will happen is no one wants to be alone and no one wants to be without companionship. So even if you're really good at staying busy and having all these distractions, you're going to get to a place you're like, okay, I'm ready to date, or I want to spend time with people. But because your magnet is off, it's still attuned to your trauma. You're going to pick the friend who's flaky. You're going to pick the partner who is unavailable, the one who's going to cheat, the one who doesn't have time. And you're going to get your heart broken and then be like, see, this is why I don't trust people. But it's not because people are like this. It's because of the persons that you chose according to your trauma template. So you have to learn how to choose healthy and safe people, and then start to let people in and build more consistent connection with them.
Yeah, and I always say that it's all about decisions and choices, because I always say there are really good people out here. There are really good people open to having healthy relationships. You just have to find and choose those people. If you are in an unhealthy state yourself, a lot of times you're going to attract and choose people that are in that same mental as you are. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So I just want to briefly, before we do close out, I want to touch on a podcast episode that you recently did, and you shared a story where you talked about how you was giving and giving, you was giving the resources. And I think it kind of stemmed from a texting program that you had, and it was going to cost a certain amount of money, and you kind of just realized that may be too costly for me to use for my clients. And you kind of shared the story that some people were a little bit unhappy with it. But after giving and giving and giving, it still wasn't enough, because it still did not make some people happy. And for me, at that moment, I had to take a look in the mirror and look at my life, because I was like, man, I am continuing to give, and it's still not making some people happy. And then at that moment, I had to realize I am not here to make everyone happy. I'm here to give my gift that God wants me to give. I'm here to help as many people as I can, but I am one person. I cannot do absolutely everything. And I really just appreciate your transparency with that. And that it was a defining moment for you as well, I would maybe say. Just listening to the emotion that you gave in that podcast. So I guess I want to briefly ask you, although that was really a defining moment for you, moving forward, if you had a similar situation like that, how would you address it? Just so I can have some feedback, or so I can really know when I'm in a similar situation where I'm trying and I'm giving, but people are still unhappy with what I'm giving. How do you handle that?
That's a really amazing question. It's a really beautiful question, because I think the tendency that happens when people get burned is that we want to pull back and say, if you don't appreciate it, then I'm not going to give anything, and either become stingy or restrictive. But like you just said, when one, you have a purpose, but two, you have a gift, and you get pleasure from gifting, and so. But I think it's a beautiful question too, because I think when it comes to love and connection, there's always the risk. The reason why, the tears came up during that episode, it wasn't necessarily because of the negative comment, but it was because of someone who I had built a connection with over years, who said that to me. It was unexpected. It felt like a betrayal.
Wow. That, that it just really made me think about that episode.
Or a connection to.
Yeah.
I would feel my feelings.
Okay.
I would either communicate, depending on what the energy was and how they said it. Because this last time I communicated what I felt, but I would probably still communicate it. But I think what that prompted is me doing more self-work and knowing how to affirm myself. And I think I would be able to practice more self-compassion and self-love, and reminding myself that this is not about me, it's about them. It's about their ability to receive, about what they're projecting. And if someone's not ready, that has nothing to do with me. It just means that they don't really deserve to be here.
Wow. That is, thank you for that. And I tremendously apologize if that is really a sensitive
Oh, no.
Topic.
No, it's not.
Because I know it's been really recently, so I do apologize for that. I just really, that episode actually just brought me to tears, and it really had me evaluating a lot of things in my life. And as you stated, I had to realize it's not me, it is that person. It is where they are at in life, whether they're unhappy or they're not fulfilled. So I had to realize it's not me, because I'm doing any and everything. I feel like I'm going over and beyond at this point. So I had to realize, like, it's really not me, it's just that person. So you try not to take it personal, but it's really difficult, like you said, especially when you have a relationship with that person. You think that things will, play out a little better than that. So, it's difficult.
Yeah. And to add one more thing, just, I know we're coming to time, but I shared in today's podcast episode, I uploaded the episode today. What that does is when you're focused on one person and their negativity, that's what grows in your heart versus the availability of everybody else around you. So I said in that episode, how it's two people out of hundreds, right? So I got hundreds of people who are like, I appreciate this, thank you, but I'm like, but they hurt my feelings, and so
that's human nature, though. We focused on those two negative things, but we have a million people that could be getting your message, but we zoom in on those two,
right.
And it hurts.
Right. And what I've been talking with some other people about is, I feel like that is more of a sign, going back to your self-work, of what you think that you're worth. So do I think that I'm worth receiving all of the positivity and praise? Is that an accurate mirror for who I am? Or do I feel like it's an accurate mirror, this negativity and criticism? And the direction I go says more about how I feel about myself versus what's actually true, So that's the other thing. I'm really going to practice learning how to sit with receiving that I'm already enough.
I am enough. That is one of my go-to affirmations. I am enough. No matter what I'm going through, what time of the day, when that doubt and fear, that imposter syndrome, no matter what it is, I always go to I am enough. But you have to believe it, because those are times where I'm saying it and I'm not believing it. So you have to say it and you have to believe it. So that is still practice for me. I mean, just being very honest, that is still major practice for me. I'm saying it, and at times I believe it, and at sometimes I just don't. But that is just the human mind for you. So Shena, I want to say thank you so much once again for graciously being a part of the Black Educated Tea podcast, sharing all your knowledge, your wisdom, all the great things you're doing for Black women, and focusing on our healing, and so we can be better for us and our family and our friends, and just show out in the world like we are continuing to do. So thank you for being a wonderful part in that journey for so many of us. So I want you just to share with everyone where they can find you, your social media handles, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Black Girls Heal. You can find me on TikTok at Black Girls Heal. And you can find our website at blackgirlsheal.org. We also have a Facebook page, and you just search for Black Girls Heal. And that's where I would direct you to find ways to work together, whether it's a recovery school or an event or another workshop or one of our workbooks. We'd love for you to take advantage of any resources that feel good for you.
And there it is. Thank you so much, Shena. You have an absolutely wonderful day. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Shena.
Bye.
Bye-bye.